What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Best Show Ever podcast, the podcast where I interview people about the best concerts they've ever seen in their lives. I'm your host, Cam Hurt. I'm joined by my boss here. If you've followed the Instagram page at all, you know that there is a boss of this podcast. It's not me, and it is Stink, my cat here. He is usually less than thrilled with what I put out on Instagram. He's usually not that excited about the episodes, I got to be honest. So he's here watching today, the intros and outros, just for a quality control perspective. Kind of like having your manager watch you at work. I'll be honest, I'm on a performance plan right now with the cat. So hope you guys are enjoying the intro. This episode this week is with someone who has become a good buddy very quickly. This is someone who I bumped into every day at the Sphere for Phish, and we did not plan on that. This is Lane Flexner from Calico Phlex, a screen printer, t-shirt designer, artist, recently stand-up comedian. Man, Lane... Lane is such a good dude, and this is such a great story. I truly don't know that this story could ever really be topped in my mind as far as like a best show ever goes. He's got some great show stories in here, but when it comes to his best show ever, for those of you who aren't familiar, you are in for a total treat when you hear about his little trip to King Gizz at Red Rocks last year. That's all I'm going to say. If you guys have been enjoying the podcast and have subscribed to the YouTube channel or left a review on Apple Podcasts or rated it 5 stars on Spotify, thank you so much. Really appreciate all the support that I've gotten for the podcast. And last week, we actually got a bunch of new Patreon members. And so thank you to anyone who has given their hard-earned $4 to the Patreon for that bonus episode and everything. Thank you. It really helps make the show better. As you can tell, I'm holding a brand new mic here, and that is all from the Patreon donations. Thank you guys so much for that. I wanted to add some more community aspect to the Patreon instead of just people coming in, watching the episodes, maybe leaving a comment and leaving. And so there's a brand new tier on the Patreon right now that gives you access to the Best Show Ever chat. This chat is basically just a group chat that happens on the Patreon. You have to be a paid member, but it allows you to talk about the episodes. It allows you to meet up with friends. If you've got tickets to a show but you don't have anybody that's going with you, go ahead and throw it into the chat. See if anyone's going to be at that show and meet up with some buddies and have the best show ever. I really feel like this is going to be like a fun thing to check in on. I'll be in there. I know that Connor, the Long Strange Niche, is going to be in there. I'm going to do my best to get some guests in there as well, just to kind of talk about their episodes and such. But go ahead, check out the Patreon. It's in the link tree on my Instagram, in the link tree on the Best Show Ever Instagram and Twitter. Join for the new tier, and you'll get that chat, which is pretty freaking sweet. But I got to get out of the way of this intro. I got to get out of here so that we can make room for possibly the best show ever story of all time. Everyone, this is Lane Flexner. Enjoy yourselves. But first, enjoy a little bit of music from our other guest this week, Calico. It's a little unreleased music called Down. Just a t-shirt. You're a real person.
Sometimes I feel like I say I'm in the hey cool t-shirt business because like that's what I embody. Yeah.
Do you get to do the thing where you like point out when someone's wearing your thing ever? Do you get to be like, hey, I made that? Just so you know.
Last night at a show, I saw Grateful Shred last night here in Nashville, and there's a guy wearing the Gold t-shirt. And I was like, hey, man, like I made that. And I have to be kind of like really like different. I have to be very humble about it because I've had a couple weird experiences where like they bring it too far. It's too close to home or whatever. So I just usually say, hey, cool shirt. That's it. And if they ask, you make this, I'll tell them. But the guy like had a cool story about like wearing it with his parents at the Sphere, and I was like, all right, that's cool. I appreciate you sharing that. But yeah, I will once in a while say that, not all the time.
I get what you mean though. There are times where like someone will come up and be like, "Dude, love the videos," and then like 2 minutes later, we are in the deepest conversation
Yeah.
that I've ever been in, and I'm like, "Okay, I do gotta go,"
I
but
gotta
I
get
hope that
life here. Like, yeah,
I know, like people just got to take things like a weird direction or something. Like
yeah,
it's not always like you said. Sometimes it's a very sweet story, or it's like,
right,
"Hey, I'm here with my mom, and we laugh about your stuff or
right,
whatever." We both bought the shirts and we're wearing them or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah. When did you start? What was your first shirt? When did you start making shirts?
The honestly, the grilled cheese was the first. Sure. I've been screen printing for like 8 or 9 years. I used to work at a print shop, but not like really kind of boosted my skill set and all that. And I had like a home studio in a shack in a little shed in my old house. And the business, I started the business that it is now, and like during COVID, I was
Mhm.
like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. It wasn't like, hey, maybe I'll do this. It was like, no, like this is gonna happen. Like I'm doing this, and started off one shirt, one sticker, and then just like started to evolve and got a following, and yeah, people love it. I mean, it's a passion too. 'Cause, I mean, I love screen printing. I'm a big artist, and I love doing. I mean, buying shirts and being part of that culture too is a big part of my life too. So I understood the niche in the market of all that. So joining that was just like, oh yeah, I know what to do here. This is like I've already been here before. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, getting a little bit of experience at the screen printing shop was probably super helpful because I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, I've got friends who are like, "Man, I would love to get started making. I've got the shirt idea, and could you send it to your friend?" And they're always like, "Well, you should start making some shirts. Like, go ahead and
right.
trial and error, and take a
Yeah, I
whack at it."
mean, like it really, like the shop showed me how to I don't understood how to like, print a shirt, but it taught me how to like, okay, take it to this next level of like owning a business and running a print shop. Like I also print client work and print for some bands and businesses that are local here in Nashville. Um, and I just had no idea. I was like, I'm printed a bunch of random designs, and it was like now my friends wear them, and I'm like, do not wear that around me. Like I don't want to see that anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's like 10 years ago, please. Yeah, I mean, also a lot of people just like don't know the process of screen printing. They think you hit print on a screen and then it comes out like, and there is technology like that nowadays. It's called DTG. And that's like a little cheaper of a shirt, but like I'm hand pressing ink into shirts, and there's like darkroom processes. There's like a whole 2 days or a day of work that before I do any printing of a shirt. So I honestly love showing people the process of that. It's a passion of mine. Just like, here's what it takes to print a shirt. Like, and here's a 4-color shirt and a 6-color shirt and a 5-color shirt. It's really cool to see people's eyes be like, oh, I had no idea. That's how you print a shirt. It's like, yeah, dude, it's magical. I do that. That's a full-time job. It's wild.
Yeah, I didn't just like look up an image online and then just say print onto the
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah, people will send me like, "Hey man, I want this printed," and it's like a photograph, and it's like that's not how
Never
this
gonna
works.
happen.
I get a 1 color or 2 color, like a flat image, and then you go from there. Yeah, it's nonsense, but it's also just like the fun and spice of doing all this stuff for myself and working for myself. Yeah,
Yeah, it's truly a craft, and like and people who get it like know the difference, and you can't just be passing out whatever kind of shirt, you
totally,
know.
totally. Like I've often thought about like I've had people ask me like, why don't you have your shirts like outsourced? And it's like, well, because it's like I want my hands on like every shirt. I mean, I've some friends who work for me occasionally, but like for me to like actually like that know that I'm putting this out, the quality is there. Like I'm pushing ink into shirts. Like like you said, the craft that really matters a lot to me. And like, yeah, I could send it off to some company and they could do it themselves, but then it's like it's not prints by Flex anymore. It's prints by whoever like,
Yeah.
and it's a big deal for me. It's a pride thing that like I'm the one doing that. I design, I print, I ship everything. So, and I mean, it's gotten out of control in the last year or so. So it's not only me, but it's mostly me. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and our scene does it so well. You can't like slack in our scene. Like it was so funny.
Yeah.
We were in Vegas and my brother he bought a bunch of shirts. He got a bunch of, shirts on lot, and he's like walking back with them and he's like, "I was going to wear one of these shirts tonight, but they're all like quality thick shirts with a great print on the front and it's
Yeah.
Vegas and it's hot out." He's like, "I wish our scene sold some shitty shirts so I could wear one of these
Right.
tonight because
Right.
they're all
Right.
too quality."
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
The thickness, like that's a thing too. Like a lot of these like other printers or people who like kind of there's a lot of ways of doing it nowadays. It's not just screen printing or heat press. There's a couple techniques you can do, but a lot of the like you wear it on your chest. So like if it's thick and like uncomfortable, it's like itchy and scratchy. And for a show, you do not want that. Like,
No, you don't.
yeah.
But the Gizz shirt is one of my faves. I'm sure we're gonna talk more about that shirt
Yeah, that's the one.
in this episode. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of your other shows. What's the first concert you ever saw in your life?
So I had to think about that. The first show. So my parents have been bringing me to shows my entire life. My parents were like paramount in me being who I am today in terms of like turning me on to music. Like my dad and I see shows together all the time now. I bought him to see Phish last summer. We see Dead together. So they've been bringing me shows since I was like a baby. And they always told me that Ray Manzarek from The Doors was my first show, which is kind of cool. But the first one that I remember was James Taylor at Walnut Creek in Raleigh, where I grew up.
Wow, a great venue, and what a show.
Yeah.
Was that like, were you dying to go to that show, or were your parents like, "You're coming with," like you were
No,
saying?
I was like, come on, let's do this Friday night singing concert. Yeah. That's like what we did as kids.
How old do you think you were?
How old was I? I was old enough to be able to remember some odd, funky smells and be like, wow, this is very different. Like maybe 7, 6, something like that. I remember I saw an Aerosmith concert soon after this, and like the first time I encountered a drunk person was at this show, like, and I was like, oh my God, whoa. And looking now, I'm going on Phish tour every summer, hanging out with God knows who and on who knows what. Yeah. It's quite funny how exposed I've gotten to all that.
That's so funny. You're like, what was up with that guy?
Yeah, whoa, he was really funny.
People aren't usually like that. What the hell?
Yeah.
Was there like did your parents have a favorite band that they saw a ton, or were they just going to everything that came through?
We went and saw the Allman Brothers a lot.
Nice.
Like every year they played Walnut Creek, and that was like bread and butter for me. That was like literally formative for me to be where I am now. Like I grew up listening to Dead. I grew up like as a very young kid knowing the music and kind of being inspired by it. But Allman Brothers live was the first time I was like light bulb on, like, whoa, what is this? And that was back when Derek Trucks was like just starting to play with them, and O'Teal was in the band, and I mean it was incredible. Like super cool shows. Yeah.
Yeah, man, what a band. I mean, and Derek Trucks was like such a prodigy in that time. And
Yeah.
You're getting like Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks
Totally.
and O'Teal, and Greg Allman. That's like some of the best live music you could possibly see. My folks are big into the Allman Brothers as well. Was there do you have a worst show that you ever saw in your life? Like a worst concert experience?
I had to think. I've seen so many fucking concerts. I kind of have like two. One was this was like I not experienced the worst concert, but just like the opening band. It was this band 3 Teeth, and my best friends Mikey and I saw Tool in Greensboro in Bojangles Arena. Actually, it might have been Charlotte, but this little like old arena. It literally smelled like Bojangles fried chicken. And his band 3 Teeth opened, and it was like a bad 9 Inch Nails. And like just like random vocals and like a weird like click track, kind of like 9 Inch Nails has, and it was just like I think I like it, but it's also making my skin crawl. Like I don't exactly know. And it was just kind of funny because then Tool came on and it was just like
Yeah.
the down bath of music and energy and power. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing was gonna live up to Tool, but yeah, there is something about that, like, that opening band bad vibe. You're like, "Man, we have gotta get to the reason we're here." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is not it.
And I think Primus might have played in the middle of that, but like he was definitely overshadowed by Tool.
Yeah.
Sorry, left people. Um, but the other one, which is actually a pretty crazy story. So in 2013, our friends and I were on tour, and we went to Chicago and saw the shows at Norley Island for Phish. And this was the run where like every night it rained, and like the first night it was in the first night that I'll say the worst concert like experience. And like, I mean, it's Phish, so the music wasn't bad, but it was just like fuck. This was a horrible experience. So they play the first set, it's super rocking. This venue is so big that like for 3 nights I didn't even see the band. I was like in the back of the lawn, just like looking at the top of Trey's head and like the light rig. And I remember like so the venue is like on an island, kind of like looking at the skyline of Chicago, and you can kind of see like the storm rolling in. And then separate comes, this and that happens. And then they come on stage. I think they played Prince Caspian. I think it was One Like Antelope into Prince Caspian. In the middle of Prince Caspian, he starts to see like their manager come on stage and like tell Trey something, and Trey starts laughing, and everyone's like, "Okay, what's going on?" And then Paige, like literally in the middle of the song, is like, "Okay, the show is being canceled. We're evacuating the island." Not like we're not like, "Sorry guys, you have to leave. Sorry, like show's over." It's like we are evacuating. There's a storm hitting the venue. So everyone who's like high out of their minds, spun out. It's like, oh my god, what? So everyone piles out of the venue and like is now walking through the streets of Chicago, and it's like storming. Like, I mean, within a minute, it is dumping rain. And then, I mean, it was just it was a great experience to be young and stupid on the road, and like it wasn't a big deal, but like so stoked. And the next night, they announced they're playing 3 sets, and I got shut out, but I actually paid a security guard to sneak me into the venue for $100. So it's kind of like a funny, like worst night, and then like an interesting next night of the tour.
I've heard about that show because I was living in Milwaukee at the time, and my buddy Will took our friend Justin to his first show, and they talk about how they were like, he's like, I was peaking about as high as I've ever been on acid,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the
Yes.
show is just like kerplunk done, like, and now we've got to like go through this tunnel and get spilled out into the streets of
Exactly.
Chicago,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just like, and it's not like, when you spill out of Wrigley, like it's Wrigleyville and there's like bars and like fun little
You're
things. It's like
downtown, right?
you're like downtown. It's like not the most inviting bars and stuff for like, hippies and wooks to be walking into soaking wet from the mud and the
Right. Right. Right.
rain. And man, just like it just sounds like the absolute worst case scenario. Like I've been rained out at a show at Wrigley, and I just like, a bunch of people took bikes home. It was like
Yeah.
totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
but like Northerly Isle is, I've
You had
heard
to
horror stories.
and then because it wasn't like okay, we're in downtown Chicago. It's like we are like a mile from like anything. So then you're like, this is before Ubers and like there weren't taxis out there. So like, yeah, everyone, this huge kind of people had to like walk into downtown. It was so funny. It was such a scene.
Yeah, man. And just, I mean, if a Phish show is going to end in the middle of it, it sucks no matter what. But I mean,
Right.
yeah, that's not a like particular mayhem. Glad I missed it. I got to be honest. Glad I missed it.
Yep. Yeah, that's missable. Definitely missable.
Well, I mean, obviously, like you said, you've seen so many shows. It's very hard to pick a best show ever. It's almost impossible. But are there any shows that you would be remiss if you didn't bring up on this podcast?
Yes. When I was in college, my roommates and I bunch of hippies living in Boone, North Carolina. We went on a whim. We like had kind of planned it out, but it was like, hey, this would be kind of cool to go see the show. And went to Greensboro Coliseum to see Prince. And
Wow.
this was like, this might be my favorite concert, like #1 most like just like non-Phish or jam band show, just like experience through and through, just like completely like, I mean, he blew the roof off that venue. It was like so funny, because I didn't expect that. We were like, okay, cool, Purple Rain, you know, that'll be fun. But then it was like the whole show was just like 10 out of 10 energy, and he was just bringing it, like guitar solos, like shredding bass lines, and huge theatrics, and this and that, and yeah, it was wild, super wild.
My older brother is who got me into Phish, and he always was like the best show he's ever seen, best guitarist ever, Prince,
Yeah,
like not even close. And then I just never got a chance to see him. But yeah, if when you like
right.
look up those live clips, like or clips like on YouTube from his live shows, it's like this church of funk, like
Yeah,
unbelievable, yeah, explosion of music. Yeah.
right. I would also say, I'm thinking about this look closely now. I would also say, so my first Phish show was Bonnaroo '08, and right before that was a show that was huge. That like I didn't really, I didn't, I did not want to go, but I wasn't like, yeah, let's go see this. Like, well, I have to go see this. So I wanted to see David Byrne. My friends were like, no, we're going to see this show. And this is like before Phish comes on the main stage at like midnight or something. And it was Beastie Boys. And it ended up being their last concert of all time, like ever, ever, ever. And I remember just being like so happy because they played, you know, growing up in the 90s, you hear all those tracks, and they played every single one of them. And it was just so cool and like nostalgic. And I mean, they jammed out, had like a jam section. They were playing instruments, and like Nas came out and was like, it was really cool. Yeah. And then Phish came on and changed my life literally forever in that moment.
I mean, the Beastie Boys are just like their live shows were just the best. I mean, like there was not a time where I could have seen the Beastie Boys, but I was like obsessed with the Beastie Boys when I was
Yeah.
in high school. Everyone, you know, has gone through some small portion or maybe large portion of a Beastie Boys like phase, you know. And like
Totally.
yeah, I'm sure every song is just like, "Oh, fucking right. That's
Yeah.
like
Right, exactly. I've heard the song since I was in middle school or whatever. Like, but here we are, and it's a banger. Yeah. Super stoked to be there.
yeah. And then I mean, what was that Phish? Was that your first Phish show?
First Phish show ever. Yeah. And you know, we went to Bonnaroo, like kind of knowing we kind of was going to go to Bonnaroo, and like we like I kind of knew about Phish a little bit, and like I listened to some music before I went, and like was like, all right, cool, Harry Hood, this seems kind of cool. I'm like, I'll go. And then like they come on stage, and you know, I was like 20 years old, and I was studying music at college at the time, and I remember hearing Trey for the first time was like I will remember that for the rest of my life, because it was just like this moment of like, whoa, like what am I like hearing sounds from a guitar that I'd never even conceptualized being a thing. Like this guy is like, I mean, whoa. And it was so cool because like their stage presence, they came on stage, didn't say a word for like 10 songs. And it was like a big 3-hour set, no set break, like all the other huge hits, Harry Hood, Down Disease, YM. They played Highway to Hell in this show. And I mean, it was just like mind blowing. I left that show like literally feeling like I got spanked by like the musical gods. Like it was like the light was just like shone on me. Like, here you go, Lane, and now it's the rest of your life. This is it. Like, yeah, it was so special.
Yeah, like you've heard them, like you said, like if you've heard them on a record or something, or if you've got buddies who are like chill and played Phish, you know, and like
A live
played
one or something.
yeah, played you like a Yem or something, you're like, yeah, these guys are awesome. That would be cool to see live. And then you see it live, and you know, you hear Trey's tone, and you hear like the band moving together. You hear Fishman, you're like, holy shit, dude! Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys have just been going to this and not telling me. Like, what the fuck is
yeah.
like? Yeah.
It was, I mean, like literally one of those moments of my life where like an actual light bulb came on. It's just like, oh, I get it. Like I get that now. Like I'm part of that cult now. Cool.
Cool. Awesome. Nah, man. Now I'm in for life. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, something very cool about seeing them for your first time or like walking, like, just walking around a Phish show or having to like go to the bathroom during a Phish show and like walk the first time you walk through a Phish crowd, you're like, this is the best. And Bonner is a little different because it's like I'm sure there's a lot of people there who are also seeing their first Phish shows, you know, their first times.
Right. Right.
So it's a little different, but yeah.
Yeah. Like I
What
saw
was
like
your
Nine Inch Nails that weekend. I saw like MGMT. I saw Skrillex that weekend. I saw it's like the amount of music you see in one weekend. This is back in '09, so like music festivals or Bonnaroo for that matter was very different. Um, I'm not gonna give shade on it and anything like that, but festivals nowadays are just it's different.
yeah.
There's a lot of bass and EDM music that kind of like shadows all that. But this was like indie rock, like legends were playing and like heavy metal legends and rap legends. I mean, it was so cool. And me being so young and like moldable, it was just like it that year was very formative, extremely formative, life changing.
Wow. Yeah, and it's just totally different now. Like
Yeah.
there's way more money that gets put into it, but there's also like a lot more people who want to make money off of it. And so
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, it's just a different thing. I'll be doing Bonnaroo for the first time this summer. And Fish is not playing at it. But but it's a cool lineup and like I am looking forward to going. But yeah, it's just, festivals are such a fucking different world than they were in 2009. But
Right.
man, Man, Beastie Boys and Nas is just like, if you're gonna see a rap show, holy shit.
Right. Yeah. I
Like
mean, like I didn't expect that at all. And yeah, it was mind blowing.
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, any other honorable mention? Like, what was the next do you remember any like, the next Fish show you went to that was, like, an actual Fish show, not Bonnaroo?
So okay. So at Bonnaroo they played that Sunday night too, and they closed the festival out. But the next show I saw was Charlottesville 2009, the Naked Guy show.
Yeah.
And I mean, just still like very new and like complete noob. And I mean, I remember that was the first time I hung out on Lot, and first like bought my first Lot concert, Lot shirt, and I got your famous Lot veggie burrito, and of
Of
course
course.
paid the price for that. I mean, it's all it's a rite of passage, if you will. It's just like you gotta do it.
So quintessential.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna die now. I bought this burrito, and I'm yeah, it's sick. Cool, cool, cool.
Man. Yeah, I mean, so you have been here for the breadth of 3.0, 4.0, and whatever point oh we're in right now or
Yeah,
whatever's
who knows?
going on. Yeah, wow. You've seen the entirety of it. Are there honorable mention shows within Fish's your time with Fish that are right up there?
Yeah, the ones that come to mind immediately are I think it was night two. I mean, all the Hampton shows I've ever seen 2013, 2018. I saw my Hunters show at Hampton 2018, and it was just incredible. They played Tila, and I have a cat named Tila, and it was just like,
Yeah.
here you go, Lane. This is for you. Kind of sort of felt like, but honestly, like the number one I can't stop thinking about right now is Game Hand New Year's. I mean,
Man.
that was it. Like, and I know there's a lot of people who will probably see this and have the FOMO. I
You're
will
talking to one of
also,
them. You're talking to one of them right now.
yeah. I mean, it was just like one of those things. Like I remember I was actually on the rail with my friends, and I will never forget. I was like right in front of Jimmy and his grandma. Like the moment where like I saw her lips say the story of Game Hands. I got goosebumps even saying that out loud.
I know. Yeah. Oh
I mean, it
man.
was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, let's go. They were doing it. Whoa. I mean, yeah. Like, and the whole night was just like crying and laughing. And I mean, it was truly like very special. I'll also say Earth Day, the whale show. That was spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, just visually stunning. My birthday was the night before that on 21st. And I also got a Sphere birthday, which was special. I saw you that night. But like something about what they did at MSG that night was just like they made MSG an aquarium. Like they dimmed the lights, like this blue, and they had a laser like shooting around, so it had like the shimmer of like the ocean. They pumped bubbles into MSG, and like I know, like saying this out loud, like on paper, it's like yeah, bubbles, dolphins, whales, not a big deal. But to like be there, and I mean that was like 150 shows, something like that for me. It was a big number. I'm not sure what number it was, but I've seen a bunch. But like to be there and see like many years, 14 years of Phish, and then see that, it was just like, whoa, like so cool production and like whimsical, and everyone was so quiet because everyone was just like,
Yeah.
what are they doing right now? Like, it's rare. It's rare that like the true Phish fans will like be in awe and like have nothing to say. Like I remember at Super Bowl during Reba, like you could hear a pin drop. Like this was so quiet. Everyone was so dialed in. But it's rare, and especially now that Phish is like, I don't want to say mainstream, but like people are coming to like hang out at shows. Like
Yep.
it's a little different. I know you know about Chompers. You know the deal.
Yeah.
The Saturday night crowd, if you will.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. But like there was everyone around me was just like jaw to the ground. It was like such like a childlike moment. Everyone was just like, oh my God, wow. Yeah, that was definitely high up there. And also say Atlantic City, Baderfield, that was really cool event they did on this little municipal airport island that like, and then everyone just flooded into downtown on the strip or the boardwalk, Atlantic City, and it was just complete debauchery, which was fun at that age. But now I'm like,
Yeah, different times.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like the Earth Day Wales MSG show, like you talk about like the only thing that you could really say about the Gamehenge New Year's thing is that a lot of people knew, or like it had kind of leaked out. There was like people felt like it's like 75% chance this is gonna happen tonight.
Right.
And Phish does, I mean, always does such a good job of like keeping things under lock and key, and like you only find out what they'd like you to find out type of a thing.
Right.
The Whales was like such a surprise. It felt like such a like
Yeah, 100%.
shock. Yeah.
Like I remember like my best friend Kate has a video of like we're filming it, and then if you hear her voice, my voice be like, "Oh my God!" when it finally comes like out of like the stands, and it's like, because it was just like, wait, what? Like that thing is bigger than my truck. Like, whoa! Like where am I right now?
They just do such a good job of making like surprises happen, or just doing something that there's no way you would have thought of. Like you can think of all the different ways they could do a gag or something, and
Right.
they come up with something that like no one, you could be in a group chat with like 80 people and everyone could have a separate guess of what they think the gag's going to be, and then Phish is of course going to do the 81st guess, whatever it is. But I mean,
Right.
yeah, that was like such a surprise.
Right, totally. I definitely agree with that. And like I said, like on paper, like if you were to read that on .net, like, okay, yeah, dolphins, whales, cool. But
Awesome.
like that sounds really cool, man. Like cool. But like to see that in person was like they fucking nailed it. Like it was just such a cool experience, and with the bubbles and the lights and the shimmer of the ocean. They turned MSG into an aquarium. Like you can't say that. Like, no one does that. Like that's just so unique.
Yeah, unbelievable. And I missed that as well. So that's awesome, and that's super sick. It
Cool,
was
cool, 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 cool.
cool. Someone was but like I feel like my role in the Phish world is kind of to miss shows. Like I kind of have to miss shows so I can make videos of the guy who missed the show. Like when I was at Sphere, there was someone who was like, "Oh, I'm glad to see you finally got a ticket to a show." Every Monday after a Phish run is like a video of you not going.
Yeah, Mr. FOMO himself. Wow.
I'm like, my role is to not be there.
That's actually really fucking funny. Wow.
I felt out of place at the Sphere. I couldn't make my little video.
I'm actually here.
It's just awesome. It's just really cool. Someone talked about after the Friday night Sphere show where they went underwater and did the whole theme from the bottom thing. I was like, after that show, I was like, that was the greatest show of all time. It was the best night of my life. And the guy who I was talking to was like, really? Even with that set list? And I was like,
come on, dude.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah,
What?
I heard a lot of that. Like I was in line on that same night before the show, and people were like, yeah, the visuals were like, I felt a little glitchy and like it was a little. I'm like, dude, are you really complaining about that? And I was like, I was like, yeah, the visuals were cool, but the fucking sound in there was just like, oh
Oh,
my
dude.
god, like hearing like Fishman's fill is coming around your head. Like I feel like you could like look at the sound coming at you. It was so cool. I mean, and yeah, I mean, some of it was like not. I mean,
And that
some of
guy
it felt
wasn't
like
there, by the way. That guy was not in attendance. He just saw the set list
right.
on Phish.net. Was like, oh, theme from the bottom. Oh,
Oh,
nice.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
he
yeah.
wasn't at the show. Like, if he was there, we wouldn't have had that conversation at all. Yeah.
That's even worse. Well, yeah. It's just like
Yeah,
so funny
man.
about that. This is like a literal gift that we're alive during this moment in time. Like, yeah, it might not be your like heady half an hour tweezer or like no bust outs, dude. It's like, okay, great. Like be grateful you're at a concert. Like it's a really cool thing to like feel that energy and be part of this amazing community. I mean, it's special. It's really special.
Super special. Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, last night was like probably music history, and they're like pushing forward the live music experience. But I mean, the set list. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
They played Mercury, and I don't know.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so silly, so silly.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that I feel like I will have to start a separate podcast called like Best Sphere Ever or something, because we will talk about that fucking place on every single episode
I
of this
totally agree.
podcast. Yeah.
I mean, it was just like it was like seeing like world class concert seeing. That's what it felt like. Like just like tips. I mean, MSG is incredible. Like there's nothing like seeing a show there. And like the energy in there, especially for a New Year's run. I mean, there's nothing like that. I tell my friends that who don't know Phish Tour. It's like you see a New Year's show at MSG, you're seeing like you know the Chicago like the Bulls play in like you know where Jordan lit. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
something
not a
like
sports
that. It's Babe Ruth playing at Yankee Stadium.
right.
It's
Yeah,
fucking yeah. It's the best. Yeah, I mean,
but the Sphere was
uh,
just like I mean. From the minute you walked in there, it was like the crazy, weird, like eerie blue lights in the lobby and like the looping track they had, and you get in there and it's like a light bath of light. I mean, it was crazy. And then the sound on top of all of that. That's what I've been saying the most. Like, yeah, the visuals were very cool, very immersive and special. But the sound, I mean, I've never, ever, ever heard music like that in my entire life. And maybe never will. Yeah.
yeah, it took you a while to like get used to how good and how crazy, like, you've been in like a stadium, and you've heard them do surround sound bits where they like throw the sound in a circle around the room,
Right.
and that is cool, and they did that. But they could like popcorn the sound everywhere, or they could like shoot one just like one snare hit behind you or something, or it'd be
Yeah, like
like,
behind your like, right ear, and then behind your
yeah,
left ear, be paging a little. And it's like, wait,
it was
whoa! I never heard that before in a song. Like, and the haptics, you add the haptics to it, like the mic bass line. Like, there was one part of the last night where some guy next to me was like, "Hey man, sit down," and it was like Mike, like punching me in the ass. It was like, what? Whoa! This is a whole new kinky Phish. Like, I'm here for it. Like, whoa.
yeah, like we at some point at that first night, we're like looking across, and we're like, look at all these people sitting down, like what the fuck. And then you're
Yeah,
like, wait, and you kind of like look, and they're like so into the show, and you're like,
yeah,
wait a minute, like you've never seen people like see, like you assume they're either probably like not doing well on the drugs that they took, or they're not
right.
liking the show,
Yeah,
and like they're actually like the most into the show they could possibly be, because they're
yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
a back massage from Mike.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
just like super special. Like I didn't know about that going in, so that was like a cherry on top of the cherry on top of the cherry. It was just like many things that were like, wow, like I will not experience something like this maybe ever again in my whole life until they play there next year. So we'll see.
I was gonna say until they come back. But is that your best show ever? And if not, what is your
That
best
is
show
not
ever?
it. That was, I mean, it was fun. It was very unique. My best show ever is sort of a life-changing story and happening. So my best show ever, I will say, was King Gizzard at Red Rocks June 7th, I think it was. This is last summer. And there's more to that, which I know you know. And it wasn't, I mean, King Gizz was amazing. I saw the whole tour last summer and it was incredible. Like, I went on tour alone, vending on the road, and it was super special because the community is really young and everyone's so stoked to be there. And it's like, they're coming from Australia, so they're stoked to be here. And you can, like, every night, like, it felt like this past summer, last summer tour felt like what I imagine like 94, 95, 96 Phish sounding like, where like every show is building up to like this, like everything's better and better and better and better. And I'm not just saying that because it was so cool, but it was like they're trying new things, they're looping songs into songs, and it was really special. But this one night, first night of Red Rocks last year, they played 3 shows at Red Rocks in 2 days. It's kind of unique. They had one night, a normal show, and the next night was like 2 shows in 1 day, which was really special. And the first night, that day was really crazy. I woke up, I went trail running up in the Rockies, and I come back into town. I'm at my hotel, I'm swimming in the pool, and my phone starts to literally blowing up. Like, I'm in the pool, I see my phone, like, and I'm like, what's going on? And like everybody I've ever met in my entire life is tagging me in this post, texting me this shit. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? Am I getting canceled online right now? What is happening? Literally quite the opposite. So earlier in the year, I had sent the Gizz Phish shirt, which you have, to Trey's daughter Bella, and then like Sue, Trey's wife, reached out to me and like wanted one for Trey to wear at the King Gizz shows because they're getting ready to be there for the shows. And then the next day was the Mission Ballroom Tab shows. So I'm like, oh my God, Trey's gonna be there. Holy fucking shit. Like, whoa. So I sent him shirts. I wrote a note and include like a bunch of stickers of my cats. And I wrote him a note about like, my life and how incredible it's been to be on tour and see Trey in recovery and this and that. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, cool, he has it. That's incredible. Life change for that. And then this day on June 7th, I get out of the pool, and Trey had posted on his Instagram, on social media, a picture of him wearing the shirt. And in that moment, my brain like turned off like 4 times, like, no. And I'm like in the pool by myself. Yeah, like, he's not wearing that. That's not real. It's photoshopped. And then like everybody I know is like, Lane, look. And I'm like, I'm in the pool by myself. I'm just like, oh my God. And like had this like crazy moment, run to my hotel room, I call my parents. I'm like, Dad. He's like, holy fuck. Like, so then my website is like blowing up. Like, I eventually got like 300 orders of that one shirt alone in a matter of hours. Like, it was full on. And it's like while I'm on tour, like far from home. So it's like kind of funny, like knowing when I got home, it's gonna be like, all right, get to fucking work.
Yeah, right.
Shirts. So I go to the show, and like a bunch of my friends who knew me were like, holy shit, dude, like Trey's gonna be here. He wore your shirt. And I'm like, this is insane, like kind of out of body experience. And I was like waiting in line like all day to be like up front at Red Rocks. Like, be going to the show, and like in my head, like I knew since Sue had told me like they're gonna be there, and I'm like, hey, maybe I'll see him, maybe I'll just look at him. That's it. Like,
yeah.
And then so I'm sitting there next to the soundboard, and all of a sudden here comes Big Red, sits there like 4 seats away from me, like he's just like sitting there, just like. And I walk up, and I'm wearing the Gizz shirt, and I'm like, hey. Trey, point at the shirt, and he like runs over to me, and he's like, oh my God, did you make that shirt? And I'm like, hey, dude, like, yeah,
Trey.
yeah. Like me saying, hey, Trey, and Sue was right there, and she's like, oh, you're Lane, right? You're Tila's dad. Like, she knew my cat. Like, I'm just like, whoa, like, wait, whoa. And then like, I'm just like talking to them, like face to face, like looking directly into Trey's eyes, and it was such a funny experience because like he has his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, oh, Lane, thank you so much. Like the note you wrote and the shirts you sent, like so thoughtful. And I'm like,
dude.
Like, wait, like, whoa, like he's hugging me and shit. I'm like Trey, listen, man, like I've been on tour for like 13 and 14 years. Like your music has changed my life. Like this is the coolest moment of my life. Like, and he's just like I have some pictures that I framed in my house at the moment. That, like I'll look at it and I'm just like, that's not me.
Yeah,
Like,
like what the fuck?
yeah, it's like I have one picture of like Trey's hand on me. Like he's like it's in the moment where he's like, you made that shirt, and he's like his smile on his face is like through the roof, and I'm just like, wait, how did I get here? And then so we're talking, and I'm like asking about like I'm asking about Joey and Sadie, his animals, and like it was just so casual. Like he really makes you feel like he's a friend, and like he's really personable and humble, and like his energy is it's not like through the roof, or it's not like low. It's like very humanizing. Um,
Yeah.
and something he does, his presence just makes you feel welcome. And it was so weird because like I've seen 100 almost 200 Phish shows, and like we've always seen Trey across the venue up there, but to like talk to him and like it was like seeing an old friend. Like, hey dude, what's up, man? Like, hey dude. Like it really wasn't that like nerve-wracking or fanboy. It was like, yeah, dude, I know you. You don't know, like, you don't know that I know you, but I know you. Like,
Yeah.
and then like the craziest thing was that like, so we talk. I'm like, all right, dude, I'll see you on summer tour. Like, have fun tonight. And like, so I'm sitting like right next to where he is. So then we watch King Gizzard together. Like, and that was just like this mind blowing experience of like, I'm like looking over at him and he's like singing along, and like him and Sue are dancing and like being super fucking cute. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, like this is it. This is that moment on the sun where like my life has just changed forever. And yeah, like I'm like crying like a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
yeah, I like call my dad. I'm like, Dad, I just met it's like midnight or 1 a.m. his time. 'Cause I'm in Colorado, and he's like, are you okay, dude? What's up? And I'm like, Dad.
I'm very okay.
I'm standing next to Trey. Like, yeah, it was just the coolest ever. Like, and like watching him watch a show, like, and him being so engaged. Like I was saying, like we've seen him play so many shows, and he's like when he's playing with Phish, he's like dialed in. But to watch Trey like shoulders down and like enjoy a concert was super unique, and like this cool blessing. Like I never even conceptualized ever. I mean, he was singing along, and he was drumming, he was air drumming, and I was just like, this is wild, dude. Whoa. Yeah. So best show, best day, best experience ever.
I mean, like, I don't even know where to start with that story, like, when you and I first were talking about it, yeah, it's just like you said, it's like your brain is probably broken throughout the whole experience. Like, there's no way this is happening, and this is,
Yeah,
like,
right.
throughout the entire day. You're just like, "What the f" You're already excited to go see King Gizz at Red Rocks. Like, that's
Yeah,
already gonna be an
yeah,
awesome experience. Like, they're playing, like you said, this amazing tour. Last summer was amazing,
yeah,
and, like, yeah, like, yeah, that just has to be crazy. You are watching a guy who has played, as much or more live music than almost anyone you can
right.
name, and he's, like, grooving at a show, like, air
Yeah, dude.
drumming like a nerd, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was really mind boggling. Like, because everyone around me also, all these fans around me, like didn't know who he was. Like all the Giz crowd was like, some people were like, oh my God, it's Trey. But it was weird because like I saw him first, and like I said, hey Trey, and then like we're talking, and then all of Red Rocks
Yeah. Oh,
oh,
yeah.
right there. So like during the show, people are like, hey man, like how do you know Trey? And I'm like, oh, we're old friends. I taught him how to play guitar. It's
Oh, Ernie?
yeah. Oh, that dude, he's my dad. It's not a big deal. It's
I
totally
know
cool.
Trey.
Totally cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've never met him? Oh, I gotta introduce you guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, you'd love
Yeah.
him.
And that's what was so weird is we were talking, and then we were like in our own little like orbit, and then I said, all right, see you, Trey. And then I realized like, oh my God, I am in Red Rocks about to see the show, and like it was just like brain boggling on like life-changing events. It was so different, so weird.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and like you said, it's Big Red. I mean, like he is such a um like you've seen him from so far away, you've seen him like this fucking small before. Maybe you've been up close and like kind of been, but it's like his presence is like no other at a live show. So
Yeah.
then when you're like having a conversation with them, you're like, this is not how it goes.
No, it's not compute. Yeah.
This does not compute. Yeah, man. And an amazing show. Like it's just got to be so sick to look over and see like one of your heroes. I'm assuming he's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely one of mine. Like just
Yeah.
grooving at the show that like you're super into this music. Like, you know, oh man, just
Yeah.
crazy.
The whole day, like waking up that day, I would have never thought like, cool, Trey's gonna wear my shirt and post it online and like literally endorse my business pretty much. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna meet him. He's gonna know who I am, like say my cat's name and like say my name. It's just, yeah, it was like, whoa, dude, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So saying the cat's name like is like that makes it a dream. You're like, okay. You're like,
Yeah, like wait a minute, whoa, you like know who I am, whoa. Yeah, it was very unique. And Sue was a sweetheart too. She was just like hanging out with Trey, and they were just like having like a super cute interaction. It's one thing you never see is Sue and Trey hanging out. Like I've seen her at shows a couple times, but like never like them interacting. So to like watch them both sing along to this band that I'm also like in love with, and
they're like on a date.
yeah, no,
You're like,
exactly. I remember I asked Trey like because the rumor was that he's gonna sit in with the band at night. And I was like, "Hey man, are you gonna play tonight?" He like belly laughed. He was like, "No, dude. Like, no. I'm here to hang out. I'm not doing that."
yeah. That's so yeah. And he got to have the night off for once, you know? And
Right.
like that's the other thing, like, you know, there you might have an opportunity to meet him like on a show day or, you know, while he's on tour and everything, but there's a level of like he's at work and like
Yeah.
you're in that interaction. Like you really got to be with the dude on like a night off where he like really welcomed you into the space
Totally.
and I know that you said that it wasn't like a fanboy thing, but I recently I went to the Beach Life Festival and I was like I was standing like 2 feet away from him and we did not talk, but my heart was pounding like you could hear it. Like you could hear it if you were standing near it. It was like, is something rattling in the bus? Or like it was like
You good,
my
dude?
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pass the fuck out right now. So I wasn't even talking to him. We
Yeah.
didn't even talk. Yeah, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" Like it was like too much to handle.
I mean, yeah. It's also odd. He's like definitely like you're taller than I am, but he was like right eye to eye with me. So when I was looking at him, it was just like, whoa, like you have seen some shit, and like your hands are like you are like guitar god Trey. Like this is like whoa, it was such a weird, like, I still can't believe it. It's been almost a year now. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure. I like you said, every time you see the picture, you just got to be like, "What?"
I just laughed my ass off. I have it in my kitchen. It's like my dad printed it off for me. It's a picture of him wearing the shirt and the one of like me and him. And it's just like, that's, that's wild. That's wild, man.
It's so wild. It is truly one of the coolest stories I've ever heard. I got to be honest. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Any other good story? Anything else or
The story I was telling you earlier about like being snuck
yeah.
into the show is also a pretty funny tour story of just like handing a guy in Chicago $100 and being like, he actually asked me because I had $100 bill in my hand and he was like, "Follow me, dude," and I was like,
Yep.
21 years old. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, don't kill me, but bring me somewhere cool. I don't know. He brings me behind the stage, behind the venue, by the buses, and like I hand him the $100 bill, and he like shoved me on the grass on the lawn. He's like, "All right, don't get caught." And I was like, all right, like
And
cool, thanks, dude.
Northerly Isle is definitely one of those places you can still do that. Like
Yeah, for
you
sure.
can get that done at Wrigley too. Like you can find a way to get into Wrigley. Yeah, like I don't know if that's the case at Red Rocks. If you guys are going to Alpine this summer, the Alpine's definitely a place you can do that. Just fair warning. Don't smoke a bowl in the parking lot, but you can absolutely sneak into the venue.
Exactly. I find so weird about that. Yeah, no shakedown, but we have cheese curds, and you can pay to sneak in the venue. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, you can do your drugs in the venue. That's the rule. It's like, what kind of fucking place is this? Yeah, that's Wisconsin, man. It has been so nice to have you on, dude.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. Is there anything you're hitting up this summer? Like anything you're looking forward to coming up?
So I'm gonna hit most of tour this summer. I'm probably gonna skip Mansfield, um, and then I'm like jumping from Phish tour right to King Gizz tour.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, to be honest, the one thing that's gonna be special or like the one thing I'm like, fuck yeah, about the summer is Mondegreen. I mean,
Yeah, dude.
the festivals are just like nothing else. I mean, I say that as I just went to the Sphere, and of course that was like
Like nothing else.
incredible. But the ethos and like the culture and the community and the curation that Phish does, and like at these festivals is just like nothing else like it. Because you wake up, you see Phish, you go to bed, and you talk about Phish the whole day. Your neighbors are all right there. It's a whole like for 4 days you're like immersed in it, and it's super unique. I mean, I won a Super Bowl and Magna Ball, and they were both like highly ranked on my like concert career list. I mean, yeah, just so cool. And I mean, who knows what they're gonna do this summer since Curveball got canceled, and we all know all the weird stuff they had planned, like the mime field and that the dome or the whatever you call it, like the sphere thing. Who knows? It's just like so cool to think about.
Yeah, and it's like, how many more of these are they realistically gonna do? Like, this is gonna
Exactly.
be a pretty massive celebration of Phish. And yeah, that really is like I'm going home for Alpine, and I'm, hitting a couple other things throughout the summer, and I'm really excited. But like Mondegreen is really
Yeah,
that's the big one.
it's gonna be really special, man. And like, I have a lot of friends who are like, I don't know, I haven't been to a festival, but I'll probably go to Deer Creek only. I'm like, rethink that, man. If you can do only one thing, like that is it by a lot. And it's just such a unique experience. It's like the dorkiest Phish event. Like everyone's just dorking out on Phish the whole time. Everyone's just like living and breathing and listening and speaking and eating and who knows what else. Like Phish the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after last year's Dicks, I was like, I'm not missing another Dicks. Like, that's not happening. And then this year, like with how things are shaking out, like, yeah, that I'm like, I will miss Deer Creek. I will miss Dicks if it means I'm going to Mondegreen, you
Right.
know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
then
also excited.
that'll make Dicks and Deer Creek really special too, because like everyone's going to Mondegreen, and it'll be like, don't miss these, and then Trey's gonna like fuck everybody up at Deer Creek, and, or whatever's like right before Mondegreen.
I think it's Bethel Woods, but
Yep. Yeah.
that's gonna be fun too. That's a really special, unique venue too. It's just a lot of history, a lot of energy. That's beautiful out there too, and it's a gorgeous part of the country. It's beautiful. But again, just to iterate, Mondegreen, if you're listening out there, do not miss. Maybe this will be
Yeah.
past at that point. I don't know. I don't know when you air.
It'll
Um,
this will come out in the summer, but yeah, I don't want to see any angry tweets or like, weird psychology playing out online in your story about how it sucks and whatever. Like, it's not gonna suck. It's gonna be really fucking cool. So
Yeah, like even if the shows aren't I'm personally like I'm a little tired of like they didn't play Bust Out. It's like, did you hear that fucking tweet that they played? Did you hear that Harry Hood? Like that was incredible. And like even still, I just feel like so blessed, so grateful to like even be able to see shows, and it's just like it's a community that keeps bringing me back every single summer. It's like, yeah, there's trolls. Yes, there's bitter middle-aged people who whatever are angry about whatever, who God knows what.
but yeah, we're
But
lucky. We're so lucky.
exactly, it's a very special thing to be part of, and it's honestly one of the biggest joys of my life to like tap into it and yeah, be part of it. Yeah,
Well, I hope to see you out there. I'm
yeah,
sure
of
I'll see
course.
if you're at Alpine, I'll see you.
Yeah, I'll see you.
But this was really great, man. Thanks
Hell
so much
yeah.
for doing it.
Fuck yeah.
So that was my conversation with Lane, and that was Lane's incredible story with Trey. I mean, I think that everyone who is a Phish fan to any degree has had a dream about like sitting in a crowd with Trey. Lane did it. And Trey was wearing Lane's shirt. And they were at King Gizz. And it was at Red Rocks. I truly, I mean, best of luck to all the guests that I've got in the future on this podcast. I really don't know who's going to top that. It's just it is the best story I've ever heard in my life. It might be the best show ever. And that King Gizz show was pretty fucking good too. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. If you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, thank you so much. If you've rated us on Spotify 5 stars, thank you so much. If you've left a review on Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. All of those things really help out with the whole algorithm of it all. And so truly appreciate that. On the Patreon, there's a brand new tier right now. Mentioned that in the intro. If you want to go be a part of the community, if you want to go freak out and talk about how cool Lane is for sitting with Trey, go do it. Go join. We would love to have you. Until next time, folks, have a great show.